All right. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this Deborah platform with another message. And I will say this is a lovely afternoon in which the Most High Yah has made. And I, Sister Deborah, shall and I will rest therein. Just coming with a little something, something. This is the second video today. I want to show you what I picked up at my store. Did not have any idea it was there. Isn't that beautiful? When I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm taking this here. This is mine's. That is beautiful. It says, be the light. Matthew's chapter 5, verse 14. I found that in my store. I didn't purchase it, I took it out. I love it. So I got it on the side of my nightstand. I love this. It was a time where everything came out of my mouth was about the light. Okay. And we know who is the light. He is the light. And we are the lowercase. He is the uppercase. And we are the lowercase light. Because we are in his image. His image is a light, which is a spirit. If you were to see a spirit, it is likened to a light. And he is a spirit, and we have a spirit within us. And where he abides is in the spirit, in our spirit that he has given every male and female that's born. Uh, uh, but yeah, I like I said, I love this here, this picture, and I put it on my nightstand, and I was going to show it to you. That I found it, and I like the idea of having little nice things like that. That's nice. The message today is going to cover a little here and a little there, but it's going to enlighten you again. Enlighten you in spirit and truth. A lot of things that Sister Deborah speaks on, it is to cover only spirit and truth. Some things you might hear me say, but 99.9 is going to be based on spirit and truth. I want to let you know that uh, in the beginning, when he created, we first have to understand, which many people do not understand it. I'm going to open up the comment section just so you can uh, uh, kind of chime in to what the conversation is about. That's about to take place, in which I'm going to speak on. First of all, I want to let you all know that we need to stop trying to take every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Yah as something new, something present, something that you just awakened to, you just found out. You are behind. You're way behind. And if I had to say how far you are behind, I say 1,000,000, 2,000,000 miles behind in understanding. And it's it should be like that if the Spirit has not taught you what took place before the foundation of the world. And another thing about what took place before the foundation of the world, it is a lot of verses there explaining to you that before it was, before it is, it was. And it tells you that through a lot of the verses by saying predestined, ordained, knew you before. It's lots of words to kind of give you a little insight that things didn't just start when you came on the scene. Things did not start when Genesis and things were created. Before it was created, it was in Him. It's just like before you think of something, before you do something, you first have to think it. When in Yah, He thought it. Okay? He planned it in his thoughts. He thought it. And then he began to speak his idea. And then he began to perform. You see? So a lot of times people are battling who was created first and who was second, or he didn't create E the same time. I'm starting to understand by just sitting still and letting the Spirit take me as deep as He please. And that is to show me that when I taught you before the foundation of the world, you know, Deborah, you know, just as you have taught to them, John, the Gospel of John, the first chapter, first verse, and the second verse. In me was the Word, and the Word was me. And in the beginning, it was. So what we're thinking is we're really believing that Yah's word started once he spoke it. No, he it was in him. In his spiritual mind was the word. That's where his plan, his blueprint, his thought pattern, his whole action was placed. What was placed in the mind of a higher, before heaven and earth was created? The beginning to the end and everything in between. The reason why I say I am a student of the Ruach HaKodesh and I'm taught from the wilderness because the place in where he teaches me is a place he created for me. And in that place, he shows up and he shows out. In that place, you don't have time to say, raise your hand and say, when I got this, I got that. I normally ask those questions when he is done speaking and teaching, because the teaching in which the Ruach HaKodesh teaches you, it's not the type of teaching where you got to be speaking and opening your mouth. It's time to shut it up and hear. It's time to shut it up and hear. Because this thing of his word is so powerful. You even heard it described as a two-edged sword. That's just showing you that it goes beyond everything that's nasty, your flesh. It goes and peers beyond all of that. You see? So to say this, the two-edged sword exists before you exist. It is created to go beyond all this flesh. Why? Because it was, and it is. And it's going to be in this day. So while we're thinking we can, and it's sad, I'm gonna keep on saying this. I got to keep saying our nation men, especially 99.9, the tribe of Judah, think they got it all brain and all history, all word. And all they got is their flesh understanding, their flesh wisdom, and their flesh knowledge. And Yah has allowed them to gain that. Okay? And I understand why. Because they have turned about face. Totally, just turned totally their backs from what is spirit and truth. Just so they can be and appear to know it all. So when you get into Genesis, me, myself, you might have some people, and I know that he said he always got heathens. So I know that there's others out there understand that we as the students of the Ruach HaKodesh that was taught in the wilderness and other places in which Yah has found fit for us to learn from him and to learn of him and to learn where it began, where it started. And me being a student, like I tell you, I'm not a dead prophet, I'm a living one. So therefore, I'm a person that you really need to really take heed to. But it doesn't matter. It's over. It doesn't matter. It's over. It doesn't matter. But to say this, what took place before the foundation of the world, before heaven and earth was created, before anything was, what took place then is greater than what you see today. Because heavens holds the beginning and the end and everything in between. But before it held the beginning and the end and everything in between, everything was already in him, here, in his spiritual mind. So we as human beings cannot take this that was, that is, and shall be, and think that we can go and tamper with the will of the Father, or we can change his mind frame, or his will, or his predestined ways, or his ways that he has ordained, and the ways that he has ordered, the steps he has ordered. We can't change nothing, y'all. Sit down and stop acting like clowns that thinking you gonna control something because you play in the circus all the time. This here platform is the devil's platform, and it's likened to a circus. You ain't doing nothing but playing your role. He is way and beyond what you can see and believe. That's why he said your thoughts are not his thoughts. His thoughts was in the heaven with him, in spirit and in truth. Your ways are not his ways, because his ways was his thoughts, and he put them forth. And when he put them forth, he put them for then, now, and the days to come. In a sense, it is finished in him. So while we run around here thinking we doing something because we on this devil platform, thinking we famous and we got praise and we got likes and subscribers, we got this and we got that. I got this one Negro man, a Hebrew, I guess I can call him. He don't consider himself that. He considered himself probably white, and he pitch dark. But that's how his mind frame is. Because what they think, if they can entertain Europeans, they got it going on. They know they got it going on. And they don't understand you playing in fire. And a lot of them are playing, he's playing with numbers and he's playing with colors. And he don't understand this thing is not about your numbers and your colors. No, it isn't. Y'all going to reveal something to you, you best bet it's not going to be in numbers and colors. Because if that was the case, Yeshua HaMashiach would have came out explaining to us how to walk in numbers and colors. And every disciple after they're in. Okay? So it's not about numbers and colors. Your mind is a powerful tool. It's a playground for Satan and his demons. Your mind is a powerful tool. It is a playground for Satan and his demons. And if the fence that is surround your mind is not hemmed in around your mind by a higher, your mind can be manipulated at a blink of an eye all day long with what you believe, what you read, what you study, what you search, what you do your history on, what you do your receipt on, or whatever you do. You can be messed up from the floor up when you think it. And you see the hedge he had around Job to keep Satan from coming in the midst. But he couldn't put the hedge, when he was taking off the hedge that was taken off, that's when Satan still wasn't allowed until Yah touched Job. But the way these men are out here now, guess what? You out here naked. You skin deep. And the devil is playing with you from every part of your body that he can find. Successfully. Every part of your body he's playing with. And he's starting with your mind. Because you're thinking you're going to override what was, what is, and what shall be, and you can't. Because this thing started in the heavens, y'all. This didn't start on earth. It became in his spiritual thought before he made it and said it. You see? And perform it. It was already in his thought. It's what he made. That's why he said the lamb was slaughtered. The lamb was slaughtered before the foundation of the world. He even explained that to you. That is what 99.9 miss. They don't think that all these verses that leads to informing you that something is greater and took place that's greater before the foundation of the world than Genesis 1:1. They don't care. They want to be able to make up their own belief and what they believe and what they understand and the way they believe and understand it. I want to say this to you all out there that are desiring to walk in the light, that are desiring to find life in the narrow gate, that is desiring to know spirit and truth, desiring to walk therein as a servant of the Most High Yah. You out there, know this, that you are not going to be able to take something from Yah. Not a human being, nor a creature, or a spirit, or Satan himself can take away something that Yah has created and predestined and will. We can't go in that word and will nothing out of that. Yes, they have tampered with it and smeared it. That's why spirit and truth have to come and put it back into its right contents. Because what we as people have done, we have messed up the mind of people going and coming. I sit back and hear him in Ezekiel, Isaiah, and Jeremiah complaining about the shepherds and those who were supposed to lead the flock, as if his intent when they got scattered, he didn't leave them without shepherds. You mean to tell me, Father, you left them somebody to lead and guide them? And that's what Sister Deborah started on this platform saying. What happened to the people that Yah had sent and had the rams that was in the bush that should have been able to have said something during those 400 years? Yeah, we might have been lost in the fullness of our curse, but the word has always been there. He never, ever will let that go. Because if you go to Genesis chapter 3, Genesis chapter 3 and verse 22 and 23. And Yahuwah said, behold, the man is become as one of us, knowing good and evil, having the knowledge of good and evil. But see, people don't understand good and evil is almost like something that comes hand in hand. Good and evil. Just like in the garden, he said the knowledge of good and evil. So it's almost like they come hand in hand, like you're right and you're left, you're up and you're down, hot and cold, dark and light. Good and evil is they come hand in hand. Okay. And now lest he put forth his hand and take of the tree of life, and eat and live forever. So he's not saying the good and evil as if good is gonna bring you to the tree of life. No. You got to take a hand and you got to reach for something greater than good and evil. That's beyond good and evil, and that is life. And eat and live forever. Eating just means take it in. Okay. Now watch 34. Watch Genesis chapter 3 and verse 23. Therefore, therefore, Yah sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from hence he was taken. He sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to tilt the ground from hence he was taken. 24. Now this is the key. So he drove out man and he drove out man and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. See, Yah is not going to bring you over here for 400 years and not still have a light that can turn all ways that you may find your way. So what we were dealing with was people that were stiff-necked, rebellion, and disobedient, had fully turned themselves away from the Most High Yah, had profaned him, for disrespect him, dishonor him, and profane his name. So they had an attitude that was messed up from the floor way before they came over here 400 years. They was on a promised land conducting themselves in this manner. You see, so a lot of times we want to give us as a nation all this praise and this glory and this honor. We want to put ourselves up here just because we are said to be the children of the Most High Yah. But we don't really look at how ugly we are from the inside out, from the outside in. We don't look at the fact of how we conduct ourselves, even to today. We don't see nothing wrong, no error, no wrongdoing. Don't see anything. All we see is what we want to see, and 99.9 of what we want to see is pretty much darkness. That's the only thing we come on one accord in. That's the only thing that we fellowship in. It's darkness and nonsense, and it's sad. So when we have people, especially when we have men who wants to take on this book and say this book is about them. This book says they rulers, they kings, they leaders, but then shown through example that you are the opposite of the opposite. What is that telling you? They don't see nothing wrong with it either. I've sat back and I told people, I remember in my store, and it's just a sight to see, and it still happens all the time. There is a people that I call them the tribe of Judah. That up here is messed up all the way. The way they do things, the way they go about things, it's like there's no integrity, none whatsoever. It's nothing there that caused them to think about their actions, the way they doing things, the way they walking into things, the way they creating, and the way they really feel about things, or anything that's spirit and truth. They don't want to walk into what is righteous. You see, they want righteous to be handed to them. They don't want to turn their face from darkness to the light. They want light to bow down to them because they want to pretend that they are somebody and more than what they really are. Because a lot of them are not who they think they are. But they in this day, oh, you're gonna find out who you are. If you think that you're gonna cater to the errors of the Hebrew men in their era and the women, but I'm gonna step on the stone of these men because of the fact that that's the whole book speaks about their era. He didn't say the sin of the foremother. And then I was just reading Jeremiah. He was telling them about the women and what they're gonna be doing when he do get them over there. And I'm like saying, well, what are these messed men are coming up with? And then he tells them in Isaiah 3 how he's going to destroy the men by the mighty sword, and even the mighty men. Tell the women that. Now, see, they're going to be destroyed, but he's going to be telling this to the women. Women are going to be that small remnant that takes over, that goes over to the Most High Yah. We'll be taken over to that promised land. And that's why the dry bones are going to be the multitude of men that's going to come up. Okay, I'm thinking they're the army of David. Mm-hmm. So, but what I'm trying to say is, I'm going here and I'm going there. I know I'm all over the place. But what I'm saying is, we just took on a religion of our own called the Hebrew Israelite, or the awakening religion. We took on that and we made it what is living in the people today, which is wicked and evil and sin, because it's not what we are trying to make it out to be. All that's in it is unjust, unrighteous, no integrity, no spirit and truth, no light, nothing in it. But they just want to walk therein and assume that, okay, so what? It is what it is. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing to go up against everything that a higher stand for. And I'm just going to wait because he's coming for me no matter what I do. And I think that's the wrong attitude to have, because I just read, I just played Ezekiel 34, and that's not so. He said he's going to deal with them. He's going to judge them. And he's going to destroy them. And it's a lot of things in there where he's telling them. And the thing about it is, throughout the biblical book, and they always run into Torah. They better watch themselves, because if they really take it from, like I said, I don't believe in the old and the new, but if they take it from what they call the old, they fail to see all the times that he destroyed the house of Israel by great numbers. He sent them to their graves by great numbers. Nobody talks about that. The men won't cover that. The men won't cover it, because if they cover it, then they'll find out that they're doing the same thing that the men of yesterday died from. Same identical thing. And they don't feel they want to cover it, because to cover it will cause them to look within themselves and see the wicked and evil and unrighteous and ugliness. And they don't want you to see that. Not in the New Awakening, not in the newfound Hebrew Israelite movement. They don't want you to see none of that. They want to paint the picture real pretty and make you think it's this and it's this. Another thing about it, I told you I was doing a study on the, I guess I could say a study. I was doing a study on different prophets that are out on YouTube and Facebook, and as I was just doing it the way a higher was showing me, I realized they are so self-centered. They are caught in themselves. I don't know how they're gonna find themselves to dry land. Honestly, I don't think they're gonna make it, because whenever you get that high and mighty, where people can't question you, can't say something in question to what you're saying, you just want people to believe you and put you on that pedestal, you gone. You gone already. You just don't know it. You just clowning on these platforms, accepting the likes and the subscribers and the praise. But that you better enjoy it now. Because in due season, now ain't no season left. In this day, all of that's gonna cease. And you're gonna become your own person. And you're gonna see how thick that darkness rests therein. But my thing I was talking about before the foundation of the world, a lot of us wants to stand really firm toward what we are being taught by these men, not understanding that these men do not know what took place before the foundation of the world, because then was, is, and shall always be. Why? He said heaven and earth shall pass away, but his word, why? Because it's always here in him. That's where it began. So while they're trying to tell you, oh, well, they took the books from us, they took lost books, I have to do the history, I have to do the study. Baby, ain't no study needed. It's over. So any study and running around here trying to find truth, all that is over, y'all. They didn't play in the circus for so long. Every album that the Beast put on this devil platform, they dance to it. They talk about everything that's going on in the world, because they afraid of the elites. They don't want to cover no spirit and truth. They don't want to cover no spirit and truth that rests in warning the people, or bringing the people to the gate, at least to the gate that leads to life, the narrow gate. No, they don't want to do that, because the praise that they get, the likes and the subscribers, and the honor that they get is more important than directing the people to spirit and truth, and to the light, and to what is righteous, what is just. Okay, now, I was talking about at the beginning, I was talking about how you sit and you listen to the clowns in the circus talk about, oh, we have to study this, we have to find out this, I found out this, I found out this, I found out this. You don't never hear them say, the spirit met with me and told me this. A higher told me this. A higher spoke to me in the fire. A higher spoke to me in the water. A higher spoke to me under the cloud, under the tree. No, they ain't gonna tell you that, because their relationship with Yah is what they flesh has built up on and has created within them. They don't see nothing past their flesh. And they ain't not going to see anything that's going to give the Most High a higher glory. That's going to give the Most High a higher credit, praise, and honor, and worship. Oh, no, They got to be the one. Oh, I found out about this, and I found out. And I sit there and I listen to the couple of prophets, and I say, sad. These some sad species. This is some sad ones because I did not know they were teaching in that sort of deepness when this thing is not that deep. Just as I told you, everything is set up. Yah has set everything up with instructions and directions. Exactly what he gave Adam at the beginning. What we're taking it out to be today is what we and our wicked minds, our wicked hearts, and our unjust and unrighteous mindset has taken it. Outside of that, it's all going according to his will. He knew you would do that. He knew he knew your every thought, your every move, your every action, your every feeling. A higher already knew it. When? Before the foundation of the world. That's why he tells you, it is written. Where? In the heavens. Heaven and earth can pass away. But what's going to stand is going to stand in the heaven because it is written. It is. It was. It shall always be. It is finished. And finish come in with the whole overall of something taking place before the foundation of the world, and that was to give it a beginning and end. An end already took place. It has taken place in him before it began. So he wants you to understand that there's nothing you can get out here and chase. Don't go chasing, studying, and chasing the words of the mouth of men and women. Let me show you something here. Don't be chasing the mouth because the mouth is going to bring something new. That's why I say a lot of these guys that was out a couple of years ago, they're gone. They're going into a total different direction. And if you hear them now, you say, this ain't the same thing he was teaching before because their mouths is their weapon. Okay? And it said here, let me show you. And it says, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. You see? Don't follow the mouths that you're hearing because they're not leading you to nowhere. And many of you all could care less, as long as you think that all I have to do is sit here and listen to all this nonsense and I'm going to still be in there. Oh, no, you won't. Because what you entertain, you become. Okay? You become. Once it comes here in your mind, it begins to control you from the outside in. And once it get in, it's there. It's going to keep influencing you to believe what is being said because it's going to sound so good. It's going to sound so simple. It's going to make sense. But all you have to do, if you have the spirit of the Ruach HaKodesh, let it speak on your behalf. Let it take over. Okay? Because it's too much out here. Too much out here. And it's to the point where everybody is out trying to deceive another. But the blessing in it is what took place before the foundation of the world. That means while many are thinking, okay, he created Eve before he created Adam. I mean, he created Adam before he created Eve. Think now, think. Creating it is one thing. The plan was another. You heard him letting you know that the lamb was slaughtered before the foundation of the world. So the plan was before the foundation of the world. And in Genesis 1:1, he began to what? Speak his plan. And in Genesis 2, he began to create his plan. But he had already had his plan, spoke his plan, speak his plan, and he began to create his plan. By 3, he was going into, no, by the end of chapter 2, he was going into finishing what he planned. And a lot of us think that when he said it is finished, we're really thinking. He wasn't resting on what you think. He was resting where he was at. This mind, his thought, was at rest. The thought that he had, and he spoke it into existence. He spoke it, and his right hand power created it. Now he go back to rest in his mind. Now it is finished. It is finished. All that was in him, he didn't put forth. And you notice how in verse the first chapter, he spoke it the way he created it. He just made one before he made the other. But when he spoke it, he said, make them. So right there, every man on the face of the earth, you're lost. You messed up from the floor up. Because it was first spoken before it was created. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Before you can pick up this, here's this phone. Let's just put it down. It can't pick up itself. Let's wait and see if it pick up itself. This phone is not going to pick up itself. Okay. If I want that phone, I have to first think it. Once I think it, I may say it. I want the phone. I'm going to pick up the phone. Once I say it, I may do it. Pick up the phone. Everything has to come from here, the thought. And then it has to be spoken. So whether you all know it or not, woman and man was created together. Woman and man was created together. They were created as them. Not only were they created as them, this is showing you how man can smear the beginning. But when sin hit, everything they say was coming out of be a lie. But when did the sin hit? In the third chapter. Wasn't it the third chapter? Okay, so therefore, things that they were saying, and who's to say when it hit? Because Eve was saying, but that was the third chapter too, that she was saying what she was saying. Okay. Now, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yah, and the Word was Yah. So we know that every word that proceeded out of his mouth, every word that consists of who he is from the beginning. And it's not the beginning, it was the beginning as far as Genesis. It was existing before then. Okay? It was present before the beginning. Okay? So he thought it. That's where the blueprint is at. Okay? And then he spoke it. So when you get to Genesis chapter 1, and you see all these things that he spoke, you hear a lot of things that he spoke. And when he spoke, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. And they made, and Yah made he, him, and her, and he created them. It doesn't matter when after it, how it came forth. It doesn't matter how it came out forth. What you got to focus on, he had spoken. Okay? And who did he speak it to? His power already. That's us. That is, it's just like you who you are. But where do your strength come from? Your right hand. So when you get ready to do something, your right hand gonna be there to perform what you speak you want to do. Like this phone. I want to get the phone, I think it, I speak it, my right hand picks it up. So when he was saying let us, he was talking about his right hand, because his right hand is where all the power is at. All the power that's in the Father is in his right hand. And it's stretched out on the right hand. And that is the part of his only begotten Son. That was a part of who he is. That is his right hand. That is Christ. Okay, so that was us is Christ. Okay, it's the Father's right hand. So he was telling him that, he was telling his power that we're going to make man in our image. Our image is a spirit, which looks like a light. I don't know if you all ever seen the spirit. I have. It looks like a light. So he's saying We're going to make them in our image. Yah is an image of a spirit. So us going with this Negro mask, you're sick. You're sick. And you're sick. And you're going to be sick. Okay? So he is a spirit. Okay? So when he get ready to create him and her in his likeness and in his image, it's only a spirit. But he said, I create him and her. You see? And he gives you the whole overall in our image and in our likeness. We're going to create them. So they're bam. It's already created. Why? Because it came from where it was before heaven and earth was created. His thought. Then it became what he spoke. And then it became what he created. You see? So when you jump over in 2, and you see where he said he formed man, he also tell you that, but there went a mist from the earth and the water, the whole face of the earth. Up further, it tells you it had not caused, it hadn't, let's go to verse 5, Genesis chapter 2, verse 5. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herbs of the field before it grew. Now see, before anything came forth, he still had spoken it, because he told them to tilt the ground and what they should eat. But yet it hadn't even came forth. Woo! First is the thought. Then it's spoken. And then the power. You get it? So a lot of this that man decided to come in and smear to make it fit their gender is after sin had hit. Now with me, honestly, I think sin had hit Adam in that garden. But as it had hit Adam in that garden, I believe that it was also her turn for it to be to where it become one. Not saying that he sinned, and not saying that just she sinned, but it had to be both. Okay. Now you have to be able to put it in the proper contents, and you really can. You really 99.1 can't put it in proper contents because they know nothing about what took place before the foundation of the world. And only one can teach you that is the Ruach HaKodesh himself. So even Sister Deborah couldn't teach it, because as I speak, you would have scholars and those who goes over Torah, those who goes Hebrew, Greek, those who go precept, they will go find until they find their way up out to where they can't believe. But what the reality is, it was in him. Spiritual thought. He spoke it. And then the right hand power performed that which was spoken. Here, as you see, when he said, and Yah created man in his own image, and in his image Yah created he him, male and female, he them. He created already. So it didn't matter how he molded. He showed you how he created it. But it was already created through his speaking. Well, what do you mean, Deborah? You wrong right there. Wait a minute. What do you mean? Wait a minute. What's powerful? Huh? His word. His word spoke it. And because his word spoke it, the power back it up. You see? So the word had already been spoken. It was. It was in Yah. In Yah. Already in his spiritual thought. It is Yah. It was. It is. And it shall be. The ruler and the architect of the beginning to the end. I know we want to put him down under the bed and on the floor. But you need to get somewhere and sit down with them clown clothes. Play that for somebody else that don't know no better, which is 99.9. Now, as he was saying this, he was already speaking it to existence. This is the problem I have with men. I have a problem with men because they have no respect, no honor, no worship, no serving, no uplifting, no praise for a higher. He is Ahaya, Ahaya. He is the beginning and the end. He is the creator of all things. Now, what is it to where he is all that and some, and these men don't have no respect for him and his authority? Now, if he said he created him and her in his image and in his likeness, who from the deepest, how would I say it, uh, darkness of uh, torment, wicked place that can come up out of that hole and rechange this to change millions of people's mind easily. They did it, y'all. They did it successfully. Here they sit and say, then you have these ones that's out here today that has led 1,000 and think they led the world and can't even lead themselves to labor, to labor for what they have. They have to take from somebody else to make them what they need to make them. They have to find ways to get this here and to get this, to get this and to get this, to even build up on what they want for themselves. Okay, now in the Genesis, when you hear people saying that men were only made in the image of Ahaya, you know that there is an error, and a big error, and it speaks it here. I think that you can tamper with every word except for I think you can tamper with everything until you get to where Adam is speaking. After that, you can't tamper with this here. From Genesis 1, you can take on Genesis 1 all the way to Genesis 2, and where Adam is saying, flesh of my, Adam said, this is bone of my bones. Those are man, proceed out of the mouth of man. See, then we got to stay with what's coming out of the mouth of Yah. And this is why I have an issue with Hebrew men. You won't stay in line with what is spirit and truth. You won't walk in the light. You won't let the Ruach HaKodesh teach you spirit and truth and guide you and lead you. You just out here half-cocked, teaching this thing out of your rectum and could care less how you put it out. Because you put this thing out and saying things that come strictly from your rectum. It's not coming from nowhere else outside of that because it's stank. I'm telling you how bad it sounds, how bad it smells, and really how bad it looks coming out. Because that's what it is. It's a mess that you're shooting out. Here he spoke it. We need to respect who he is. He is all that and some. He's all power. We cannot expect. Now we sit and we listen to Enoch and Jasper, all these other books. We go grabbing all these other books and said, oh, but it said it too. It said it too. We so busy trying to make him alive so we can believe the truth to be what we say it is. But the truth be found, Yah said ain't no word that proceed out his mouth has ever can be lost. So all the books these guys are picking up and finding, saying they took this out and they took this out of here and they took that. It don't matter. Anything was taken out, it needed to be out. Honestly. Because every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Yah is what we're going to live on. And we're going to die on. If we want to see a higher in eternal life. It's not every word that man has proceeded out of the mouth of man, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yah. And what he's saying, what proceeds out of my mouth, will allow you to find life and find it abundantly. See, life is not in what man is saying. Life is in what Yah is saying. You see what I'm saying? See, this is why I'm disappointed with a religion, not a religion, a fake religion, but a bunch of Hebrew Israelites, men, ignorant men. So I probably feel about like them as y'all feel about them. I'm going to be honest. Because stiff-necked rebellion and disobedience, I see that. I see swollen-headed, self-centered, self-motivated, self, me, pride, boasters. I mean, just all kind of ignorant things you can put on the Hebrew Israelite men. You can actually put it on there. So I want to share with you what he had gave me today about just speak it, Deborah. Even though we know that it's finished, and that is because it ain't gonna change their mindsets. It ain't gonna bring them to no new knowledge. You see, that's why he said it's finished, but still speak. He don't want me to just because it's finished to freeze up on truth. He don't want me because it's all finished and they gonna lose it here to not speak spirit and truth. Spirit and truth should run this all the way to the end. You see what I'm saying? And just because we are gonna lose it, it don't mean I'm not supposed to speak righteous, just spirit and truth, or direct people to the light. You see? To direct them to the bosom of the Most High Yah through Yeshua HaMashiach. Just constantly in that direction. As long as I stay on that path, he got me. How did he got me? He gave me the spirit of endurance. So in spite of me losing it here, guess what? I'm going to still endure. You get what I'm saying? See how he got every end covered? See, and we don't see him like that because we want to see him under the foot of man, in the mouth of man, and in the understanding of man. But Yah is bigger than that. Just like he told me, Deborah, I'm big. It's bigger than thee. And what he was explaining to me, this whole overall is so big. Don't be trying to keep up with it, because if it's finished, it's finished. You know. And where we at, you ain't gonna get these people to switch over and stop. And what was sad for me today was, I went back to the YouTube and I saw all these killings that the tribe of Judah is doing. That's off the chain, and it's beyond. It's worse than it was yesterday, y'all. It is off the chain, and you don't hear them clamming on it, getting on it. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. And I thought about all these other Hebrew Israelite camps and groups, UCI and all them. Why did y'all adapt the color purple? Why? 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 And why? I know you heard something about that color in scripture, but did it proceed out of the mouth of Yah? Or did it proceed out of the Romans, who Catholic popes and all them that didn't add it into this? You see, you don't do your study. You don't think. It's like they don't have no integrity. They don't have no morals. They don't have no standards. They don't have no respect that rests within them. They don't have no labor. I mean, to the point where you labor for what is spirit and truth. You labor to know the will of the Father. Oh, none of that is left. Okay? So it makes sense to me that when it said in Deuteronomy, until they are destroyed, because that's what I see the means. They are destroyed. For real, mentally, they are destroyed. And I want to just leave with you here in Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2. You don't look at it as if he created man, formed man first. You can't even look at it like that. Let me go there. When you go to Genesis chapter 2 and verse 6, but there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And a higher formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into the nostrils and the breath of life, and man became a living spirit. It's supposed to be spirit. That just shows you how they didn't switch words. Okay. And he planted the man in the garden of eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. Okay. Now, when he formed him, her was already present. You see, because he made them when he spoke them. You see, See, it was what come first. It's what he had planned. Let's go there. Let's go to John. Gospel of John, to give you a little bit of what Sister Deborah is trying to give you a picture of. John chapter 1 and verse 4. John chapter 1 and verse 4, just to kind of help you out. This is trying to help you out to let you know this goes beyond the understanding of ignorant uh, 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 Hebrew men. Okay, like here, First John, and you know the sad part is about it. I was saying to the Father, I said, "Seem like the heathens has mastered your word in a way that they can take it out of this book and walk therein." And he said, "That's the thing about it. They master the book, but not my word." Hallelujah! Because the word is Yah, and he didn't give them that. You see? So even though they have, and Sister Deborah can see it so clear, they have mastered this book. Okay? And that's the way the Hebrews are talking about their awakening, and now they know truth. And they just as ignorant today as they were yesterday, but even more. Now, as in John, the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 4, in him was life. Okay? And the life was the light of men. The light of men. The light is a spirit. He was putting in men the breath of life, which verse 4, the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 4, in him was life. He gives life. It comes out of his breath. And the life was adapted to and connected to a light, which is a spirit. And he said, and the light of men. So he gave that light to men. Why? Because the men holds the seed. All the lights are invested into the man's womb. Everything that you see in this world, from all the wickedness, the evil, and even the good, comes from the man womb. That's why he said, I visit the iniquities of the children and not the iniquities of the mother, because the children are the father's lineage. Their ways come from the father on down. You can't escape it. That's why he never wanted us to get caught up in four mothers, because the light in which he gave to all light, all human beings, which is a spirit, started with the man. He holds the seed holds the light. Okay, now watch this here. And he said, listen to what he said. Pay attention to this. This is where you know something went wrong in the garden from the beginning. Listen to this. And the light shineth in darkness. It's actually shineth in darkness. Now, which light is that? Our spirit. That light that he had, that he placed in man, was a spirit. It shined in his flesh. But guess what happened? And the darkness comprehend it not, even to today. The darkness of our men cannot comprehend the light in which Ahaya has given them. And that's why their children and their wives is based on their father. Same thing. It's coming down the bloodline of the men. The ways of the world is coming down the bloodline of the men and not the women. But the women has a father who holds the light, the seeds, the spirit. Okay? She incubate, covers it, nourish it, and birth it forth. But when the world, where you know that everything is the opposite of the way Yah created it, is because if a child get in trouble, they don't come looking for the father. They come looking for the mother. If a man blow up a city, they don't come looking for the father. They come looking for the mother. That's because the father has gotten away from responsibility and being liable for the children in which Yah put in his womb. You see? They have been getting away with everything that you see, this wicked and evil, everything, even the good, is coming from the womb of a man. It's coming from the bloodline and the ways of the father. They reject it, they deny it, and that's why you see the world the way it is today. When you see homosexual, that's why when you was in the book of Lot, it says men, boys, young and old. It didn't say women, girls, and daughters. It didn't say that because Wicked and evil starts in the womb of, now I can't say the womb, but the flesh of man, men, males. Anything that go on in them is gonna go on in the children's. Let's say, for instance, if a woman was an alcoholic, if a woman is alcoholic and she taking in liquor, then she's destroying the baby's brain, the baby's whole mindset. But if the father is an alcoholic and the mother is not, it still kills off the brain cells. It does the same. Okay, she's just bringing it into the child as she and drugs as she carrying them. She's ushering it into its body through the way she feeding them. But if the father, she don't have to be on drugs. If the father been on drugs, the child is going to inherit. So when our men complain about, oh, they say our children have disabilities, they have ADD, shut your mouth. Shut your ugly mouth. Because you're a liar from the pit of hell. Your children has issues. It extended from you in your wickedness of your fathers. It's always has been and it always will. My Father in heaven, who knew the plan before the foundation of the world, has broke that thing down. He's already, and then a lot of the men think, oh, this book's about us, and woman don't have a image of God, and woman ain't this, she never go. You know why? He been focusing on you. Because he knew he had to put the most focus on you because you was going to carry the most evil, the wicked. No integrity, no morals, no standards, no nothing. And then you wonder why you can't unite. You wonder why you can't come into one. You wonder why the world is in the condition that it is. It's not because of Babylon. He know that you are all up in Babylon, but before you was even over here in Babylon, you was acting just like Babylon. Because in Ezekiel 36, he said he sent them according to the way that they were to the land in which they were like unto. Woo! Nobody can tell me my father don't know what he talking about. And where did he know? Before the foundation of the world. He know what he orchestrated. He knows how it all's going to go. He knew you before you was in your mother's womb. He predestined you. You know why? He tells you even in the end in Revelation, as in the beginning, how Satan act up from the flow up and what he did and so on so on. He told you that from the beginning to the end. He told you. So what did that tell you? If this, let's go back. Let's just never take you back to what took place before the foundation of the world. Because then was you who you were and is today. Praise the mighty God. So when we're really thinking why the Lamb Book of Life was written, because guess what? He brought it all to the earth. What heaven already knew. He brought that trash to the earth. And those who wasn't following the wicked that Satan was performing, guess what? They still got detached to what he was doing. But y'all said, that's okay. I'm going to send them all down there. What's mine is mine. What's his is his. But I'm going to put them all down there. And yeah, mine's going to see down on the earth that's loaded with sin. They're going to detach themselves. They're going to go that way. But I'm going to bring them back to me because I know they didn't ask to come down here. I sent them down here with all this corrupt and this sin. So I'm bringing them back. You see, he ain't going to hold you blameless because he's saying, Father already saying in the heaven, you didn't ask to come down there. I put you down in the midst of it. I put you down in the midst of it to try to bring those that was itching to follow Lucifer down. I put you down there thinking that they would even see that, okay, now you don't want to follow Lucifer and find your way back through Yeshua HaMashiach. But they didn't. I was giving them that chance to see what they were missing. I already had a ram in the bush there, but I know I already had a lamb slaughtered before the foundation of the world. You hear that? Before the foundation of the world, to bring back what I allowed to come down, my angels. See, y'all don't understand that. That's why I say y'all need to really be careful in who you're dealing with, because if they don't know what took place before the foundation of the world, they cannot help you. Only one can help you is the Ruach HaKodesh, and he can take you there to know And none of you don't, I ain't gonna say none, but many of you all ain't gonna ever make it there because you're still out in the deep of the ocean, following these here empty-headed males who don't know nothing and thinking it's based on how they do their study, how they travel, how they understand their history, how they can precept and how they can line, how they can put this A with Z, and they ain't got nothing because it's all spirit and truth. So, all right, Sister Deborah, I hope you got something out of it. And I wanted to cover that in Genesis because the Spirit was explaining to me how when I taught you what took place before the foundation of the world. So everything that before Genesis even exists, I had it, Deborah. I said, I know you had it. He said, I had it already. And what happened, I spoke it. And then what happened, my right hand performed it. But you got to get a grip of it all. You see? And just because you see over in 2 where he formed man was already formed. It was already spoken. It was already received. So, why and when was man formed? Man was formed way back in Genesis 1 when he said, let us create man in our image and in our likeness. And what it says, what did he do? And what did he do? And wait a minute. And Yah created him, male and female. He created them, and Yah blessed them. And Yah said to them, hold up, hold up, hold up. How is it we get confused what proceed out of the mouth of Yah with what proceed out of the mouth of man? Pastor Dow will tell you a lie before he tell you the truth. Now listen to what he said here. Listen to the Most High Yah. He said, so Yah created man in his own image, and in his image Yah created he, him, and female, male and female created them. And watch this here. 28 knocks it off the ballpark. And Yah blessed them, and Yah said, now who is Yah? The Word. And the Word is what? With Yah. And the Word is what? Is Yah. Now it's telling you right in Genesis, he said something. After he created them, he said something unto them. Not to Adam, but unto them. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. So this is where we women have to go back to. That we are to work side by side with this. Rule don't mean that you are lost your position working side by side as the Creator had created you at the same time. Rule does not mean that. And if you can look up in, I'm going to show y'all something that where you can knock all this off the ballpark of who was created first. Know that he had to speak it. He spoke it. And then it came forth. Now watch this here. Now it says in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 25. And then look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 25. And Yah made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps upon the earth after his kind. And Yah saw. When did it see it? Yah saw that it was good. Yah saw that it was good. Yah saw that it was good. Now, when did he see that it was good? You come over here in Genesis chapter 2. And then you see verse 19. Hold up, Deborah, hold up. And it says, out of the ground Yah formed man, every beast of the field, and every fowl of the air, and brought forth them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called them, called every living creature, that was his name. Verse 20, and Adam gave names to all the cattle and all the fowls and all the animals, all the fowls of the air, and every beast of the field. Now, wait a minute. At the top of that, it says, out of the ground, Ahia formed the beast. You go back to Genesis chapter 1 and verse 25. And Yah made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle, and after after their kind, and everything that creeping thing upon the earth after his kind, and Yah saw it was good. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. So you saw it before you created it? Everything he does is good. But everything man appeared to be when he saw him is not good. When he saw Adam, after he had given Adam the instructions and directions, which was the world called today commandment and laws, and ignorant Hebrews calls it commandment and laws. He gave the first instructions and direction to Adam and Eve. I mean to Adam in the garden. And then he saw that it was not good. Okay? So try to understand that, y'all. Now, here in Genesis chapter 1, verse 25, you see he saw. Why? Because in him is the word. And the word has the tendency of being in him. And when it in him, he speaks word. He is the word. He speaks the word. Now look down here. I want you to go also to Genesis chapter 1 and verse 28, and how he's dealing with her and him, in which he has created in him. He already spoke it into existence. Now listen to what he said. And Yah blessed them, and Yah said unto them, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish and the seas and the fowls and the earth and the air, the fowls of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Women have been stripped from their calling in which Yah spoke into existence because of this thing that man has took on, this word rule. They took rule and conquered what he said at the beginning. But what's the difference? What's the difference in when he told man he shall rule over woman versus what he says here? The difference is one is with sin and one is without. So which one stand in the eyes of Yah? Come on now. Get it right. Get it right. Now let me say that again. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, Ahiah blessed them, and Ahiah said unto them, now he's talking now. He's speaking. Be fruitful, multiply, plenish, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fishes of the sea, and over the fowls of the air, and over every living thing that moved upon the earth. Now he's given this authority and power to he and her. He calls them them. So anything that overrides that has to be evil. Which rule came in because of sin. And because of sin, that word rule have got these men ignorant today. That's why they act stupid now. And ain't gonna act no better. And they don't understand that rule gave you the authority to cut up from the floor up. And that's why you over in this captivity land now. Because of what you was doing. That's why Solomon and Gomorrah was speaking of you. Men and women. Men and boys. Young and old was at the lodge door to get the two angels that had came. The two men. See, y'all been doing wrong ever since the beginning. You see? So what happens here? Let's go to 29. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 29. And and Yah said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed. To you it shall be meat. Who is he talking to? Them. And to every beast on the earth and every fowl. Wait a minute. Every fowl of the air, to everything that creeps upon the earth, wherein there is life. I have given thee green herbs and meat. And my Bible's torn out. And what did it say? And he saw And Yah saw things that my thing is torn out, and behold, it was the next day and the next evening and the morning. So Yah even letting you know, even in Genesis chapter 1, he's laid the ground. Just because man should rule over her came after sin, then that rule alone became sin in the minds of the men. And that's why they messed up from the floor, running around here talking about we the leader, we the ruler, we the king. You got to do what I say. Y'all let him flump. He let them rumble that way. Why? Because when sin hit, he wasn't coming to clear it up. But when they got to the point where men were running around here and he saw those that he had planted, the sons, the angels that came down that represent Yah was getting with the daughters of man because of what they saw man doing. So they decided to get and do what they saw. Then everything, their whole mind just out of control. So he said, I tell you what, I'm going to wipe it all away. And that's what happened. But let me tell y'all women, you had no part in that. It's still, you got to read it. You got to read Genesis 6. He's still focusing on the men and what they were doing, whether they were the angels of the Most High Yah. Because like at the beginning, before the foundation of the world, you all don't understand. There are two different angels came down. There are Yah's and there is Satan. Okay? Yah's came down and there were those who wasn't undecided if they wanted to follow Lucifer. But when they got down here, they went his way anyway. But those were those who came down here directly from out of the Most High Yah, saw what the sons of man was doing, and decided to do the way they were doing. And what were they doing? They decided to do identical what they were doing, taking these young girls, having them as many as they please. And the whole men of the Hebrew Israelite missed that. They missed it. That's what's called, and their imagination in what they were doing was only wicked. They missed it. And they still bothering women. And they missed what even caused a creator to destroy the world was because of them. So I, Sister Deborah, going to close this book up and say to you, I hope you got something out of it. Don't let nobody tell you who was created first and who. Get them back to Genesis 1 where it all began before sin hit the scene. Okay? Get it right. So I, Sister Deborah, say, I love you. Shalom and shalom.